Hello, friends. I wanted to chat with you today about the many perspectives we carry in life and how we write this inner narrative. So for me, I'm a very intellectually curious person. I love new experiences. I love the diversity of people, places, things, and those things excite my soul. I also know from a neuroscience perspective, the brain loves novelty, so I try to architect that into my life. And I remember early in my career, I used to get really frustrated with myself for not knowing what's my one thing. What's the one thing I'm going to get really good at? I would get really good at one thing, and then I would switch to another thing, get really good at that, and then switch to another thing. And a lot of the people that I had selected as mentors to watch and learn alongside, they happened to have one thing they were really good at. Like I remember Mark Overmeyer was really good at teaching writing. So was Ralph Fletcher and Katie Wood Ray and Lucy Calkins and all these people that I was studying as a teacher. Then I would look at the math specialists and a professor friend of mine, Nina, who I just adored, and Jody, and I wanted to be like them, and Jeff Farmer, who was one of my favorite professors. And then I moved into more leadership experiences and wanted to be like the individuals who specialized in leadership. And I thought, this is so frustrating. I don't know what my specialization is. And now I've realized my specialization really is the fact that I don't have one. And so I encourage you to try to think about how can you allow yourself to be many different things, not just one thing. And with that, I want to talk a little bit about the perspectives we carry, right? And so I tend to, because my career has been a very joy-filled adventure, I see the world through these lenses that I acquired during my career. I am realizing that as a teacher, I laid the foundation for seeing the good in every single person, because no matter how naughty little Matthew was, I had to sit down with his parents and tell him how wonderful he was. Those kinds of experiences taught me to see the good in every human being, to communicate the good in every human being, and to verbally praise what I wanted to see in the world and to acknowledge it. And the way behavior works is that what we acknowledge, we give more attention to. And so I started to learn about what behavioral analysts know. And those things became very clear to me thanks to those early days of career. I also, after getting behavior change down, started to learn about the structure of the mind and how we can learn new things, how we can change and shift those behaviors through intentional scope of learning, sequence of learning, and how to design those experiences with such great attention to detail that they were joy-filled, they were personally meaningful, they were the most effective point or the most effective process from point A to point B. So I became a specialist in optimization. Then later in my career, I became a specialist in people. As I worked in politics and legislation, I had to get good at relationships, at communicating effectively, at being influential. And that laid new foundations. So as you think about your career, I want you to take on these new perspectives and allow yourself permission to align with that which is authentically you. If I thought I had to be just one thing, I wouldn't be where I'm at today. I'm where I'm at today because I leaned into what was authentically me. And then as a curriculum theorist and specialist in instructional design, I leaned into those skills and started to look at what are the things that people need to be successful in the world. I'm always studying the skills and jobs report every year, annually. And then I notice patterns and trends in those things. And I build those skills with great intention, and that's what I help my clients do. Well, then fast forward, I got into situations where I was advising the House, the Senate, the Gates Foundation, the White House, and I realized I'm advising these key stakeholders in what the world needs for what our educational system needs to prepare kids for success in the world. And guess what? I hadn't worked in industry in my life unless you count undergrad bartending my way through school. And so I thought to myself, I really have to learn industry. Well, what's the industry affecting all industries? Tech. So I wanted to land there. So my perspectives that I carry are as ones that I've learned from software engineers. Their perspectives I've carried from studying neuroscience, from studying behavioral analysis, from studying curriculum and instructional design, and from studying leadership. So I design my life with great intention through those lenses. Now, as we move to the country, and you can see, like, this is so very different than my city life. I used to live in Lodo in the heart of downtown Denver, and it is wild. I just came across a quote from a thought leader that said, if you want to change your zip code. 100% true, my friends. And so as we embrace country life, I'm city-ish. I'm country-ish. I want you to think about the next step of your career as ish, right? And you're going to make mistakes along the way. One of my biggest mistakes as a country girl was saying yes to my daughter in buying ducks. I'm driving onto our property here for a minute. Let's see, I got to make sure the horses are set. All right, I'm just going to stop right here and wrap us up. So we buy these ducks and they're lovely. They're so sweet and kind. They turn out to be behaviorally a lot like dogs. They've bonded to us. They've bonded to each other. And it turns out they're both boys. One of the funniest days in this journey was I was sitting in my bed on a Saturday morning. I had loved to enjoy sleeping in, looking out my window at watching the sunrise and just reading and filling my mind with great books and thoughts for the week ahead. And so I'm in my Zen space. My daughter comes in with a duck in a dish towel into my bedroom. Things I never thought would happen in my life, friends. And she says, Mom, we have a problem. And I thought, oh, great. What kind of problem is now on my desk that I don't know how to solve, right? And luckily, being trained in leadership, I know that the problems that end up on a leader's desk are problems no one else knew how to solve. So I got good at that. So I was like, bring it on, let's go. And she says, Dixie's a boy. And I thought, well, why is that a problem? Like, no big deal. I mean, then it hits me, oh, he's not going to lay eggs. Oh, we might end up with baby ducks. What if we end up with a whole flock? And I thought to myself, that's not that bad. We can figure this out. Maybe we can breed and sell ducks, right? Like, allow the possibilities to enter your mind space. You don't have to be just one thing. You can be many different things. And so as this happens, then she explains ducks and sex. My little 12-year-old girl talking to me about this, I was slightly mortified, very uncomfortable, and thought to myself, wow, we have to figure this out. So it turns out a male duck needs anywhere from 4 to 8 females to satisfy himself. And if he doesn't have that, he will go after this one duck, in this case, our little girl Daisy, and will oversex her and kill her. And so all of a sudden things get real. And as I like to say, shift happens. So I start realizing we might need to find a new home for Dixie. So I start down that path. Then we learn Daisy is a boy as well. So now we have 2 boy ducks. They're a lot to clean, they're a lot to maintain, and they're not going to be producing these wonderfully nutrient-rich, creamy eggs that I'd been looking forward to. That's okay. Things in life don't always work out as you thought. So as you see in this week's video, we found a beautiful new home for our boy ducks, and we're excited to welcome chickens. So it's okay. Let shift happen in your life and make shift happen. I honestly, when we met this wonderful woman who we're rehoming our ducks to, we met her in the parking lot of Murdoch's. I know it's chick season. I wanted to go in and see the chicks. We'd seen them twice before. And I told Gigi as we walked in, we are not buying a chick. We are not buying a bunny. We are not buying an animal today. And I knew in my heart I wanted to get some chicks. I want to be able to control my food sources a little bit better. And chickens are horribly raised in America. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to raise my own chickens. And so I'd been studying a little bit about the different breeds, and in all honesty, forgot my notes. And I just asked the woman kindly, what are the 2 highest egg laying chicks you have? She showed me 4. I picked the 2 that I liked best, and off we went, right? A little lesson in, I don't have to overthink everything. So today's lesson for your mind, this is warrior mindset. I want you to think about your perspective from a neuroscience, from a software engineer, and from a behavioral analyst perspective. Behaviors change constantly. Allow yourself to change. Be agile. Software engineers, they have two methodologies that they primarily use to develop products. One is waterfall. That's like, I know exactly where I'm going. I'm going to set out the strategic plan to get there. Heads down, let's get to work. Agile is where you're ish. I know I want to be country-ish. I know I want to grow my own food. I know I want to have some more control over my food sources. I know I want to be an agriculturally designated property so I can save on my taxes. I don't know how to do those things yet. It's okay, my friends. You don't have to have it all figured out. You have to think like a software engineer, think like a neuroscientist, think like a behavioral analyst. Get good at those modes of thinking. And if you need support, I'm your girl. I got your back. We can do this together. Together, we are building brilliance. Together, we are warriors. With that, go out and shine your love and light into the world, warriors. It's time to shine.